Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Steinberg here. For anybody who doesn't know me, I run a fun little group called XR Motion, and we have monthly meetups every single week in Brooklyn, New York for digital artists. So make sure to check that out and come visit. Anyway, besides that. I am very excited to be here. I can't thank Adobe enough for having me on. Very exciting. Today, we're going to be going over green screening, and I'm even going to hopefully be able to throw in a little bit of 3D towards the end. So, we're going to be covering a lot. It's a lot of fun. But first off, as you can see on my screen, we have a fun little baseball scene here. And today, what we're going to be going over is how to kind of make something like this, which is pretty fun. So you can see great green screening, color swapping on the clothes, and as well some 3D baseball action happening here, which is awesome. So let's just go ahead and start off with our original scene here. So we've got this footage. Now, if you guys want to follow along here, or maybe come back another day and do this, we've got here, this is Adobe stock footage. And believe it or not, you can go ahead and download this footage here. If you haven't tried it before, there is a week trial. So that's kind of what I did, just kicking it off here, just so we're all on the same page. And I'm just working with the 1920 by 1080. But feel free, if you got a great computer, to go ahead and download the 4K footage. So that's right here. All I did was type in at the top, baseball and green screen. Pretty easy. Just kind of come down a little bit right there. Boom, bada bang. Not too hard. So very cool. So we're going to kind of go back to our project here. Now, with green screening, I think, this is one of those fun things where when you get After Effects, you're going into motion design for the first time. Green screening is really the cool magic, right? I mean, that's where you can kind of place your objects or your actors anywhere you want. It's so cool. And there's a lot of ways to go about it. And some ways are, pretty simple, quick, dare I say, even beginner. And then there's a lot more advanced techniques. So we're kind of going to go through the different ways on which you can green screen. And it's really going to be up to your own preference on what you want to do. And as well, if you're just making something for your friends, I'd suggest the quicker way. And if you're working at Marvel, well, you can spend hours green screening and rotoscoping. But we're going to go through a little bit of both techniques here. Well, maybe not Marvel techniques, but, advanced techniques. So here we go, guys. So we have our footage. We've just placed our footage in here. Very simple. And once you place it into your timeline, to do that, you can just drag and drop it right here on this media scene, and it will auto comp the proper size for you. Now, once you go here, just kind of play it through. You can see we got this nice footage. It looks great. And the thing with green screen footage a lot of times is you can see there's a gradient, right? So there's actually very light greens at the top. There's kind of darker spots all around the edges. And that's kind of the tricky part about it, right? Is you want to have a flat green. And the more solid color the green is, the better you're going to be able to key out your subject. But unless you're working with really, really good studio lighting and setups, it's very difficult to do. But this is, I would say, pretty good footage here. But there's still, again, there's some gradients here, and we're going to kind of go over that. So for the first thing you can do is you can kind of just go in here with your native Keylight. Now, there's a lot of effects here in After Effects, and I'm just kind of going to show, I have a lot of these pre-made, but I'm going to show you guys. So you can actually go in to After Effects, and the plugin is called Keylight 1.2. And this is kind of the default one. I would say just you open After Effects. What do you've got? This is the best Keylight. There are other Keylights. They all do kind of different things, but for instance, Keylight 1.2, I believe, can't key just white, right? So you could use just a regular color key for that, But the thing that's fun about Keylight is it's got so many great settings here. Mask settings, it's got color correction here, edge color correction, which is great. So I'm just going to go ahead and we will add in a new, and you can also, if you're on Mac, you can just do Keylight and just type into help, or you can go to your effects. Let me see here. I got a new computer. Actually, I spilled coffee on my old computer, so I just got this one fixed. So I had to reinstall everything. But anyway, so you can go to your presets here, effects and presets, and just type in Keylight. Both ways work. If you're on PC, you can do it this way. So we're going to go here. We have this on, and right off the bat, so we have our footage, and let me just go ahead and do fit right there so we're even. Perfect. And we're just going to go boom. Look at that. One click. Huh? It's magic. But we still obviously have some of these little errors here that are kind of, you can see these darker areas that we had before are not exactly getting keyed out properly. Now, there's so many different settings, but one of the few things you can do is just go to your screen gain and just kind of clear it out a little bit. And just like that, it's pretty much gone. The thing, though, is that it's increasing a lot of times the amount of color grains that we are trying to remove. But when that happens, you can see here, a lot of these hair details get lost. So we can go back and you see all those great hair details. Now, these are kind of the things that you'd want to almost keep in if you are doing a very, high detailed, either, independent movie or commercial. Those are the details you want to keep in. But for right off the bat, with, Keylight 1.2, just a drag and drop and adjusting the screen gain, I mean, that is pretty impressive, right? So there's other things you can do here, and we'll just say, for instance, one of the things I like, you can enable your edge correction, which is nice. You can just kind of mix around with the hardness and the softness of everything as well. The edge grow. It's not for some reason. But anyway, the one thing I would say with the edge color correction, the one thing I like to do, and this footage was actually so good that it's kind of hard to show some of this next effect, but it is the Keylight Advanced Spill Suppressor. And what this does is it pretty much a lot of times here, you know what I can do? I can nope, the footage is too good. A lot of times what you'll see is you'll get these edges here, and a lot of times that'll have a green little halo around the edge, because a lot of times what happens is the light bounces off the green screen and then it hits the back of your object. And what that happens is you have a light wrap of green around your character or actor or actress, and so it can be very stubborn to fix. So when you have those issues, guys, just get the advanced spill suppressor and it'll literally go into your edges and try and color match the surrounding pixels. And it does an amazing job blending. So that's right there, Keylight 1.2 of a technique. And that technique right here is using a Luma Mask. So as you can see here, we actually have all of these hairs being brought back in. And this was just a very quick, rough cut I did. These are things where you can spend hours just kind of tweaking settings to get all of these hairs back in. So here you can see, it's very straight. All the loose hairs got cut out. You can almost see here, as we zoom in, this is again, just using this is Keylight 1.2. You can see the hairs are kind of coming in and out here. Looks pretty, I mean, it's still all right, but as we go here, they're not even showing up. And these are kind of those signs where when you're watching TV, you're like, oh, that's obviously green screened, right? But when we go into this effect, seeing these little hairs and these little details are things that make you go, oh, that really looks like it's comped in there because the details are showing. So how do we do that, right? This is a pretty interesting way of going about it. So what you can do is it's called pretty much, you're using a Luma Mask here. So what we are doing is you can see here, I'll just turn on and off some of these effects. So, beep. So what we're doing is we're using Lumetri color here. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a very cool way to do color correction. You've got a lot of curve controls, hues, saturations, brightness. It's awesome. Love Lumetri color effects. And so what you can do is you just go in here. Again, you can type it in help if you're on Mac, or just go into effects and presets, and you can type in Lumetri. And so what we're trying to do here is once you populate that in here, is we're really trying to get, the goal of this is to make a silhouette of your object, right? So I will turn this on, I'll reset. I'll just kind of give you a quick rough example. Again, this is stuff you can tweak for hours, which we won't get into too much. But you can see here that we are now getting an actual silhouette from the green and the hairs. And the thing is when we do this technique, it doesn't matter what your subject is getting color corrected as. We're just getting the silhouette. And the reason is because we're going to use this as a mask on our original footage. And I'll kind of show you a little bit more about what I'm talking about here in a second. So, I'm just kind of going section by section, trying to get these little silhouettes out. And so, for instance, that's kind of good. You might want to go to your, you can even go to your green channel here. If you're under Lumetri, you just go to your curves, you go to green here. You can just kind of kick up the greens a little bit. Just, the whole thing is just, you're just trying to get those hairs to stand out as much as possible. I mean, that already is looking pretty good. You can go to your basic, kind of try and pump up the shadows and the blacks and the whites a little bit to see what you can get here. Well, we're going to stick with this for now. I think that's pretty good. It's a pretty good, clear thing. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go back into your Keylight. And when you turn on your Keylight, this is just kind of, you're going to be messing with your settings a little bit, but it makes it a lot easier for your Keylight to pull out the green and leave your hair in, because the hair is now completely black and the background is completely green. So again, just looking at this, from that where it's very much blended to that where now you can really easily see those strands of hair. So now that we can easily see those strands of hair, we're just bringing in Keylight again and just doing a quick little, we can reset and probably just do a quick little thing here, tweak some settings a little bit. And, I kind of did some adjustments here, but we have a little bit more to go. So I'm just going to fly through this a little bit. This is very much a general overview on how things are done. And so then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring in a fill. So you're going in, take this out, and again, just typing in fill, boop, and you go from here, make it white. And just like that, we can see these beautiful strands of hair, beautiful strands of hair, love them, right? And so, yeah, and then we can mask out certain areas and just really get all of those details back in. And so that's what we did here. And I just pretty much did this yesterday. This maybe took me a half hour to do. and I just kind of went ahead on the left side of her hair. Then I went on the right side of her hair. I masked these out. For anybody who's very much a beginner, the mask tool, you can press Q, or you can kind of go up here on your pen tool with your layer selected and just kind of draw out certain areas. And when you do that, you just have these options. You can just do add or subtract, but by default, it'll be on add, and that's what you're looking for. So this is how you get a nice little Luma mat here. And so now, okay, this obviously doesn't look like what we want, right? I mean, where's the color? Where's the person? So we go back into our original footage and I'll show you guys. So what you'll want to do is we go in here and we are going to want to take all of our layers and we are going to pre-comp them. And from this, we will say, just call this Luma, Luma footage, boop, just like that. And what we're going to want to do then is bring in our original footage. So we have our original footage and we have our Luma mask, just like that. And then what we're going to want to do is you can switch and toggle modes down here. And you are going to want to make this be the mat of your original footage. Oop, I think I had it maybe backwards. The new Adobe stuff has gotten me. You know what's funny is I always mix these things up. There we go. So we got it. So now that you can kind of move Luma mats around and alpha mats now with the new Adobe update, which is super helpful and on multiple layers. I always get a little confused here. So we have our footage on the bottom. We have our pre-comp footage on the top. And then we are just selecting the Luma footage under our original footage saying, hey, reference this mat. And that is what it's doing here. And now we have a pretty clean footage. Now here again, you can see the spill, which I cleaned up a little bit in the other ones. But let's just actually go ahead here and see if we can do a little spill suppression. Maybe this is when. And then boom, you know, so we just went in. This was a great example of where to use advanced spill suppression. So you can see we have those hairs right back in here, you know, and what I would do is I'd probably go into our original layer again if we wanted to. If we really wanted to clean up with this a lot more, I would tweak a lot, spend probably another half hour just kind of adjusting these settings a little bit. Probably come in here and just, you know, tighten up the mask a lot more. And with mask, you know, you can do a mask path where we're just dropping down the menu here, clicking mask path, and then you can kind of adjust the mask path as she moves, which it'll follow along the timeline. So this is just kind of an advanced way I would go about doing this. So we are going to go ahead here. Oops, jumping ahead. And we're going to go back to our project. We're going to go to our Luma. We're going to turn that back on. And you can see again, we have these nice details here, which is fantastic, having those hairs back into our footage. I want to share just one more thing real quick before, and I really want to jump into some of these 3D things real quick. This is a little plugin called Composite Brush. It's really cool. It does green screening on the original footage. I'm just going to kind of quickly go over this, but essentially, this is like a very fun way to do green screening. And this has saved me on so many projects. It's also extremely fast. It is $99, but I've bought almost every single green screen plugin to date, and this is my favorite one. So you just do Composite Brush. And this is by Chris Vranos. If you guys don't know him, he's a great guy, also based in Brooklyn, New York. And so you can just take this here. And actually, you know what? I'm going to duplicate this. So that way we just have a clean one. And when you go in here, you can just double click. So now we're in our layer. You do have to be in layer. That took me a little while to figure out. Not your composition, your layer. And then you literally just click and click the green out. How cool is that, huh? So anytime you're seeing this and you're like, hey, I need to get some more green out, you just literally click it. It also has another cool feature where you can do hue and saturation. So I'm going to restart this. So I'm doing we'll do soft, and you can also change this to hair. So it'll actually make sure that it does a better job on hair. So hair V1.4, and then you can do color. And let's just say, we wanted to, I'm going to switch this to stencil alpha. So there we go. Now we're cutting out the footage. But let's just say you had a client that also wanted to change the color of the blue to yellow, right? You can actually come in here too, and it's very fun. It's just a fun way to do it. We'll switch this to yellow. And Chris Vranos, he also makes Lockdown, like one of the most popular After Effects plugins. So you know that this little plugin is legit. He puts a lot of heart and soul into these things. And boom, just kind of go in here, just kind of, again, we're just literally going in and selecting the blues. This is about as fun as it gets, guys. Here we go. And just look at that. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, we've got a pretty good little footage right there. And it just really took all of the blues just like that and switched all the blues to whatever color we had here in our transfer color mode. All right, so we've got about 5 minutes left. So I'm going to kind of zoom on through here. So we've got our project, right? And we've got our comp. So I kind of brought in the Luma mat here. What I did is I brought in the Luma mat, so we have the hair details. And then I brought in Chris Vranos's composite brush here, and I changed all the blues to yellows. And then we have this fun little baseball scene. So with this, we are able to go to a site like TurboSquid. TurboSquid is great for getting 3D models. And you can go, I just typed in baseball. And what you'll do is you can type in best match, go to lower pricing. And when you do that, you'll see there's baseballs here, right? Now, the thing is, I got this baseball bat, which I'll show you in a minute. The thing with After Effects is it got really good at doing 3D. The 3D model you're gonna want to look for is GLTF. Now, you can use FBX and OBJs, but the thing is you're going to have to convert them into this file format, which is very easy to do on either program like Cinema 4D or Blender. And if you have those, you can look up very quick tutorials on converting these into this file format. So once you do that, you can literally bring it in here. And it is, I mean, very easy. Like you would think bringing in 3D objects into After Effects would just crash it, right? I mean, a few years ago, you'd be like nearly impossible unless you had Element 3D. And now you can literally do this just right here, right inside After Effects. So I imported the objects, and to do that, you just take this baseball, blip, and I will turn these off so we can kind of see what I'm talking about here. And you go to your baseball footage and you just grab this file, you drag it in, and we'll put that on top. Now, one thing you can see here, so what you might be tempted to do is push back the object. The truth is that its scale, you can also, I like to adjust the scale. That way it's easier to now kind of control the distance. So I always start with adjusting the scale. You can go here. I just moved it to the side position. You can start with it down here, and then it quickly comes up. And then you can have the rotation. And look at that guy. Like, this is a real 3D. That's a real 3D baseball right there. And what you can do here, just last little thing, transform the center anchor point into layer content. So it's now in the middle. And just like that, we are now rotating the baseball. I mean, It's crazy. That's just a fun new thing that I feel like I couldn't really do before natively. And so we'll just start this at 0 and just play this real quick. And now you have a fun baseball. Now, if we had footage of her swinging that bat, I mean, that would be a home run right there. Am I right? Am I right? All right, guys. Well, again, I hope you guys enjoyed this little fun tutorial with green screening. I know it was very quick and brief, but it was just a general fun thing, showing some fun things you can do very quickly. If you guys have any questions or want to see some of our work or join our little New York digital art meetup every month, check us out on XR Motion on Instagram or xrmotion.com. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys had a fun time doing this little After Effects project with me. Thanks, guys.